So recently, in a lengthy discussion, I had pointed out that Ron Silliman's utilization of the phrase "monument to the Maudlin" to describe William E. Stafford poem, which is titled "Traveling Through the Dark," was an imprecise, use of language, unless one read into it a rather elegant and condensed interpretation that recognized three separate moments in time in the process of narrating this particular experience. One of those moments, being an event, whether fictional or real, in which this particular narrator of this particular poem discovers a doe on the side of the road, which is carrying a live but unborn fawn, and which is dead, and which he first rolls off the side of the road, and then presumably later recalls in something perhaps less than tranquility, perhaps a bar, or not necessarily a bar, but Ron Silliman implies some space of rhetorical sentimentality that verges upon drunkenness. So that's the second moment after the events take place. And then I suggested that this is perhaps a discursive adventure, that adventure is the wrong word. I won't fall into the trap of utilizing an inappropriate term, but a discursive loop of a kind of eternal return that is marked by repetition of the telling of a tale, which is the telling itself, the reliving of the story becomes the curse of the failure to act in an ethical manner from the outset. And this is, of course, reminiscent of Coleridge and the Rime of the Ancient Mariner and the killing of the albatross, although the narrator in the William E. Stafford poem doesn't actually, well, I mean, I suppose, he does. He kills the unborn fawn by rolling it off the cliff, rather than attempting, to lift the deer into his, vehicle and drive it, to whatever, medical, facilities or veterinary facilities, might be able to better deal with the situation and handle it. And then, of course, there's the use of the word monument in the expression, which this kind of repetitive telling, the eternal return of the telling of this story as the infliction of the curse, right, for the act of murdering this sacred creature, or this beneficent omen, or whatever it might be. That retelling and telling can't possibly be regarded as a monument. So the monument has to be the publication of the narrative itself, and that would be a third moment in this particular narratological engagement, right? And so I argued that these three moments that that are perhaps, right, carefully and quietly and even cryptically hidden in Silliman's expression, monument to the Maudlin, present in a way a kind of like oversimplified, but nevertheless argument concerning what narrative and narratology are in relationship to time. Now, in proposing, all of that, I overlooked the fact that this term Maudlin has an interestingly, productive relationship with this name Ron Silliman, which I, was entirely unaware of. But recently, actually just right now, when I did a search for the word Maudlin and Ron Silliman, I was shocked, really, actually quite surprised that, I know shocked may be the wrong word, I won't say shocked, but I was quite surprised that it was so productively generative. And so I thought, as another, kind of improvisation, although this improvisation is, there's not much really that I'm going to improvise because I'm just going to read, all of these lines that have the word, maudlin in them, and that's going to be the poem. And I'm not going to attempt to put them in any order or arrange them in any kind of conceptual sonnet-like manner, or utilize rhyme to bring them together, or anything else. I'm just going to read them one after another, and I guess that could be regarded as aleatory, but to me it wouldn't be aleatory. It's rather sequential, just a sequential account of the generative productivity of the relationship between the word maudlin and the word or the phrase, the noun phrase, Ron Silliman. So I'll go ahead and read these, and I don't know what I really want to focus on. I could start by focusing either on Ron or Edgar Allan Poe, or on Lynn Higinian and Al Filreis, or I'm not exactly sure who this is. I'm sure a lot of individuals will recognize whoever this is. Let's go ahead and click on him and find out who it is. This is Louis Armand, and okay, that's all you need to know. All right, so I don't know, I think it's more interesting in a way to focus on something less obvious. So let's go ahead and focus on Poe, and then as I scroll down, we'll find different images to fill in the gap. But, God forbid that maudlin and heavy-handed subjects like slavery and mass slaughter overwhelm the form, whose maudlin engine stops the gypsy capital. Therefore, it is not so much because the poetry is maudlin or sentimental, and markers of strong sensibility or sentimentality, therefore, but not in a maudlin or easy way. There we were, nudging the plentiful chimera of the foreground, maudlin and Freudian ego that could be plumbed in what now may seem to me maudlin ways. Little Miss Maudlin. The first poetry blogger I ever read till my eyes swam was Ron Silliman. Blog writing encourages maudlin self-publicists. The talk of the red chicken to the serious and somewhat maudlin reflection on form is, besides the maudlin, our woman warrior likes to traffic back and forth. A lacerating self-hatred and a maudlin self-pity. Month, with its maudlin late Victorian locutions, your mother loves to. Trafficking much of his writing career in maudlin mawkish. A frequently maudlin pretentious lyricist. I had been a maudlin introspective quiet writer. Shin, a maudlin source of anxiety we are ruled by. But there's nothing maudlin or self-expressive or self-pitying in the language performances of Canadian poet Christian Buch. If that, yeah, apologies if I mispronounce Christian Buch's name. They are maudlin observers, cameras with sepia filters. No choice about it, and even for its imperfections and self-pitying, angsty, maudlin nature, it is perfectly crafted, sculpted, formed, and I do love it. They are maudlin observers, cameras with sepia filters. That's kind of a deja vu line. I'm late, though maudlin. Oh me, oh me. Older viewers might find Keating's earnestness here maudlin or ... Even of love, that maudlin word that has become almost unspeakable in our times. Is Italian pressed into an essence of plastic come to mean maudlin? Or sentimentality, therefore, but not in a maudlin or easy way. I believe that's another deja vu line. To differentiate herself from Bernstein, Hyginian, Silliman, et al., but to lift it from its maudlin imprisonment, return it to the ... In himself to be a want of manliness, of racial pride, a maudlin ability, study of the subject, Ron Silliman argues that Spicer, quote, became the first. Decidedly quieter than Hoyland's equally timed minute, and less maudlin than ... Feeling too deep for the maudlin songs to reach, you can count on the sentiment. Yet without being sentimental or maudlin, Millet manages to create a... I was maudlin with tears in my eyes at the whole idea, as Ron Silliman, the articulate and resourceful editor of In the American Tree, puts it in his ... By pleading like a maudlin drunk that by, quote, obverse, reverse, end of quote, he means, quote, one truth I ... and somewhat maudlin reflection on our lives and how we overwork and are ... Your maudlin, of course, the only real poem to write is the go-to-hell writing establishment poems, but the readers never know who. Maudlin linguistic inadequacy is further emphasized, and so is the vital fact that sterile chatter and maudlin benedictions. Resolutely maudlin. Summer Browning doesn't settle. Ronald Reagan and you need an ungodly ... Kit Robinson, Ron Silliman, and Barrett Watton. Ron Silliman, Electronic Poetry Center, Alchemy, Electronic Book Review, Gun Edge, Maudlin Edge, Peel Edge, Real Edge, Nor Edge, Nudge Edge. Maudlin Moon. Maudlin Street, Houston, Texas. Also in this book, Ron Silliman, New Prose Poem, says, an even self-pity that might otherwise become excessively maudlin. Tim Maudlin. Maudlin. The Maudlin Poetess is from Pope's epistle to Dr., excuse my mispronunciation of this word, Arbuthnot. Ron Silliman refers to lyric as, quote, a simple ego psychology in which the poetic ... Silliman later becomes a founder in 1818 of the American Journal of Science. May bring to mind the words kitsch or schlock or schmaltz or maudlin ... Maudlin ... Silliman. period. Tim Maudlin. Professor Silliman of Yale College acknowledged that he was indebted to a ... voices maudlin and unsteady, raised the bacchanalian cry, "Here is to the ... Matt Maudlin. And not to unstop her own storm and be maudlin ... or period perhaps, comma period perhaps. Maudlin, Karen C. Calvin/Lydia Maudlin. I can also evade maudlin affectation ... Ron Silliman, period. Hitchcock. Sorry about that. Wheel Maudlin, Wheel Magdalene ... Silliman. 1819A, 1819B, 1819C, Hitchcock and Silliman, 1826. It can also evade maudlin affectation ... Ron Silliman. Once again, a moment of deja vu poetics. Or one could refer to it as repetition. (1750 to 1900), edited by Daniel Maudlin, University of Plymouth, UK ... in the American Tree, Language, Realism, Poetry, edited by Ron Silliman. The Indians pronounced the name Chich-o-rontok, its signification being where he harangued in maudlin fashion the immense throng that swarmed the earth. Maudlin, confidential, didactic. Monumento Nacional Bosque Petrificados Banbar Drug, Late Night on Maudlin Street lyrics. To the readers, this sounds like a maudlin. Maudlin, confidential, didactic, sentimental, factual, inspiring, patriotic, informal. Ron, Morrison, Rochelle, Gretchen, Hansen, Cecilia, Raquel, Rollin, Fernandez, Henrietta, Maudlin. Maudlin Michael, Why We Need Feminism. Maudlin Tim, for an approach that might damage the literary text and rob it of ... monument into a monument. Sorry, no, let's go back. That was a very unclever reading, or very good misreading of this particular passage. Correctly, or perhaps I should say more correctly, read in the following manner: for an approach that might damage the literary text and rob it of ... moment into a maudlin affair ... Ron Silliman et al. Silliman's book might be a key to unlocking a whole lot of ... The artwork is well done, cute, without being comically goofy or maudlin. William's confession of his infidelities to be maudlin and self-serving ... In third wave objectivism, Ron Silliman argues that the return of the ... Maudlin, second row, Yoder. Maudlin, 201704049463373. Most distraught heir of the on the side of Ron Lessard's old mailing list for their ... as inept cornet attempts to follow a Maudlin radio lament. Maudlin, 1997a. Brother Styron is a Ron alumni club are past in this collection, yet I hope not Maudlin nostalgia. Karina, Giovanni, Cynthia, A, 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 4 7 8 5 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 Wildcats, Ronald Portugal, Mikhail, Maxine 1, Mausoleum, Mousy, Maureen, Maudlin, Maturin, Mating, Matrix 99, ... Taboo, Cops, Grid, Tinder, Ron, Probabilities, Singing, Washing, Reunion Times, ... Instigating, Interleague, Maudlin, Nosebleeds, Payson, Pex, Playwriting, Stacy, ... And we'll wrap it up here. Ing on the mysteries of Christ's love potentially to Maudlin. Roswell's, Rosalita, Rookies, Rons, Rollerblades, Rohypnol, Rogues, Robinsons, McNamar, McMicken, McGo, McGaw, Morelia, Maudlin, Mats, Mattia, Matsumari. Maudlin, sentimentality, synonyms. Maudlin 0.00077.792 27066. Macaulay 0.000 77.793 27067 ...